The morning air on New Bizen smelled like metal and dust. Dr. Hana Kim walked across the rocky ground, carrying her equipment scanner in one hand and a sample container in the other. The sun was rising over the mining colony, painting the sky a soft orange color. "The readings are getting stronger," said June Park, her research assistant. He was young, maybe 25, with eager eyes and a quick smile. "Whatever is out there, it's big." Hannah nodded and checked her scanner again. For 3 weeks, they had been getting strange energy signals from the northern ridge. The signals were unlike anything human technology could make. They were also unlike anything in their databases about known alien species. "Stay close," said Minho Lee, the security chief. He was older than both of them, with gray hair and careful eyes. His hand rested on his plasma rifle. "This place makes me nervous." The three of them walked toward the ridge. Behind them, the New Bizen colony looked small against the vast landscape. Only 5,000 people lived there, mostly miners and their families. They had come to this planet to dig for rare metals that Earth needed. Nobody expected to find alien technology. Hannah had been working on New Bizen for 2 years. She was a cybernetics engineer, someone who built machines that could work with the human body. The colony had brought her here to study any alien technology they might find. Most days, she fixed mining equipment and helped injured workers. Today felt different. "Look at this," June said, pointing to the ground. Strange marks covered the rocks, like someone had burned patterns into them with extreme heat. The marks were too regular to be natural. Hannah knelt down and ran her scanner over the marks. The device beeped rapidly. "The energy levels are off." "The charts," she said. "These marks are recent, maybe a few days old," Minho frowned. "We should call this in." "Get more security out here. Just a little further," Hannah said. "We're so close to finding the source." They climbed up the ridge. The energy readings grew stronger with each step. At the top, they found a crater about 50 meters wide. In the center sat something that made Hannah's breath catch in her throat. It was a ship, but not like any human ship she had ever seen. The hull was black and smooth, with no visible windows or doors. Strange symbols glowed along its sides in a pale blue light. The ship was maybe 30 meters long and shaped like a sharp blade. "That's definitely not one of ours," Minho whispered. June was already taking pictures with his scanner. "The energy signature is incredible. This technology is centuries ahead of anything humans have built." Hannah felt excited and nervous at the same time. First contact with an alien species was supposed to happen through official channels with diplomats and scientists from Earth. It was not supposed to happen on a small mining colony at the edge of human space. "We need to get closer," she said. "Bad idea," Minho replied. "We don't know if anyone is inside that thing." But Hannah was already walking down into the crater. The ship was even more impressive up close. The hull seemed to absorb light, making it hard to look at directly. She reached out to touch it. The moment her fingers made contact with the surface, the ship made a sound like singing metal. Panels slid open along the sides and figures began emerging. Hannah had never seen anything like them. They stood almost 3 meters tall, with gray skin that looked like stone. Their arms were longer than human arms, ending in hands with too many fingers. Their heads were angular, with large black eyes and no visible mouth. They wore armor that seemed to be made from the same material as their ship. "Run," Minho said quietly. "Run now," but it was too late. The aliens had seen them. One of them, larger than the others, pointed in their direction. It made a sound like grinding rocks, and the others began moving toward the humans. "Go, go, go," Minho shouted, raising his rifle. The aliens moved faster than seemed possible for creatures so large. The big one had something in its hand that looked like a sword made of blue light. It swung the weapon, and a beam of energy shot out toward Minho. Hannah grabbed June's arm and pulled him up the side of the crater. Behind them, she heard Minho's rifle firing rapidly. The plasma bolts made bright flashes against the alien armor, but they didn't seem to do much damage. "The rover!" June shouted, pointing to their vehicle at the top of the ridge. They ran as fast as they could, but the aliens were gaining on them. Hannah could hear their footsteps on the rocky ground, heavy and steady. She looked back and saw the big alien. Chasing them, its blue sword raised high. June reached the rover first and started the engine. Hannah was only a few steps behind him when she heard a different sound. Like the air itself was being cut in half, the blue sword struck her left arm just below the shoulder. There was no pain at first, just a strange cold feeling. Then she looked down and saw that her arm was gone. The alien weapon had cut through bone and muscle like they were made of paper. The pain hit her like a wall. She screamed and fell to the ground, blood flowing from where her arm used to be. The big alien stood over her, raising its sword for another strike. "Get away from her!" June yelled. He had grabbed Minho's backup rifle from the rover and was shooting at the alien. The plasma bolts hit the creature in the chest, making it step back. Minho appeared at the top of the ridge, limping and bleeding but still alive. "Now, we go now!" June and Minho pulled Hannah into the rover. She was going into shock from blood loss, but she stayed conscious long enough to see the aliens watching them drive away. The big one made that grinding rock sound again, and somehow Hannah knew it was laughing. The ride back to the colony was a blur of pain and fear. Minho drove while June tried to stop Hannah's bleeding with medical supplies from their emergency kit. She kept fading in and out of consciousness. "Stay with us, Hannah," June kept saying. "We're almost there." When they reached the colony medical teams were waiting. Dr. Soo-jin, the chief medical officer, took charge of Hannah's care. The last thing Hannah remembered before the anesthesia took effect was Soo-jin's voice saying, "We're going to save you." Later, when Hannah woke up in the medical bay, the first thing she did was look at where her left arm used to be. There was nothing there except bandages and a dull, constant pain. Kyung-nam, the colonial administrator, sat beside her bed. His face was serious and tired. "I'm sorry about what happened to you," he said. "And I'm sorry about June." "June?" Hannah's voice was weak and rough. "He didn't make it. One of those energy beams hit him during the escape." Minho tried to help him, but closed her eyes. June had been so young, so excited about their discovery. Now he was dead because she had insisted on getting closer to the alien ship. "There's something else," Kyung-nam continued. "We've been monitoring alien communications since your encounter. They're not here for a friendly visit. They call themselves the Vorthak, and they've claimed this planet as part of their empire. They're giving us one day to leave, or they'll kill everyone in the colony." Hannah opened her eyes and looked at the empty space where her arm had been. The Vorthak had taken her arm and killed her friend. Now they wanted to take her home and kill her people. "What does Earth Command say?" she asked. Kyung-nam's expression grew even more serious. "They're ordering a full evacuation. They say the colony can't be defended against alien technology." Hannah stared at the ceiling. Everyone expected her to accept this, to run away and let the aliens have what they wanted. But she was not everyone. She was an engineer, someone who solved problems and built solutions. The Vorthak had made a mistake. They thought taking her arm would make her weaker. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 3 days passed since the attack. Hannah lay in her hospital bed, watching the colony prepare for evacuation through her window. Families loaded their belongings onto transport ships. Children cried as they were separated from friends. Workers dismantled equipment that had taken years to build. Dr. Soo-jin checked Hannah's bandages every few hours. She was a kind woman with gentle hands and worried eyes. "The wound is healing well," she said during her morning visit. "But you lost a lot of blood. You need to rest." "How long until the evacuation is complete?" Hannah asked. 2 more days. Earth Command sent additional ships. Everyone will be off planet before the Vorthak deadline. Hannah nodded but said nothing. She had been thinking constantly since waking up. The image of June's excited face kept appearing in her mind, followed by the memory of that grinding laugh from the big Vorthak. She touched the empty space where her left arm used to be. "I want to see my workshop," she said. Soo-jin frowned. "You're not ready to be walking around yet. Your body needs time to adjust. Please, just for a few minutes." Jin helped Hannah into a wheelchair and pushed her through the colony streets. The place looked different now, empty and sad. Half the buildings were already closed. The mining equipment sat silent and abandoned. Hannah's workshop was in the engineering district, a large building filled with tools and computers. She had spent countless hours here, designing cybernetic implants for miners who lost limbs in accidents. It was her favorite place in the colony. "The evacuation order says we have to leave everything behind," Jin said as they entered the workshop. "Too much weight for the transport ships." Hannah looked around at her equipment. Computer systems, fabrication units, neural interface prototypes, alien technology samples from previous discoveries. Years of work, all of it about to be abandoned. To the Vorthak, "Leave me here for a while," she said. "Hannah, you shouldn't be alone. You're still recovering from major trauma." "I'll be fine. I just need to think." Jin hesitated, then nodded. "I'll come back in an hour." When she was alone, Hannah transferred from the wheelchair to her main workstation. Using her remaining hand, she began pulling up files on her computer. Design specifications for cybernetic. LIMBS, Neural Interface Protocols. Biocompatibility studies. She had built dozens of prosthetic arms over the years, each one designed to replace what a person had lost. They were good prosthetics, some of the best available to frontier colonies. But they were still just replacements. They made people whole again, but not better. Hannah opened a new design file and started sketching. Not a replacement arm this time, something better. Something that would give her advantages the Vorthak didn't expect. Her computer beeped with an incoming message. It was from Kyung Nam. "Dr. Kim, I heard you were up and moving around. I wanted to discuss your evacuation arrangements. As a critical injury case, you're scheduled on the first medical transport tomorrow morning." Hannah deleted the message without responding. Then she locked her workshop door and got back to work. Over the next several hours, she designed something extraordinary. A cybernetic arm that integrated human engineering with the alien technology samples in her lab. The neural interface would be direct, allowing her to control the arm with thought alone. The materials would be stronger than human bone and muscle. Most importantly, the arm would have built-in capability to interface with electronic systems. The challenge was building it. Her fabrication equipment could make the basic components, but the neural interface would require surgery. And she would have to do most of the work one-handed. Minho Lee found her 12 hours later, still working at her computer. He looked tired and moved carefully, his ribs wrapped in medical bandages from the alien attack. "Jin is looking for you," he said. "You missed your evacuation transport." "I'm not leaving," Hannah said without looking up from her screen. Minho pulled up a chair beside her workstation. "Hannah, I know you're angry. I'm angry too. Those things killed June and hurt both of us. But staying here won't bring him back." "It's not about bringing him back." Hannah turned to face him. "It's about making sure they don't do this to anyone else." She showed him her design plans. Minho studied the diagrams with growing amazement. "This is incredible," he said, "but also impossible. You can't perform surgery on yourself, and even if you could, the neural integration alone would take months of testing." "Not if I use their technology," Hannah said, pointing to a container of Vorthak components she had salvaged from the crash. "Sight. Their neural interfaces are more advanced than ours. I can adapt them." Minho was quiet for a long time. "You could die trying this. I could die doing nothing. The Vorthak don't negotiate. They don't show mercy. They take what they want and kill anyone who resists. But they made one mistake." "What mistake?" "They think humans are weak because we don't have their natural armor or strength. They don't understand that our real strength isn't in our bodies. It's in our ability to become something better than what we were." That evening Kyung Nam came to the workshop personally. He was an older man with gray hair and the bearing of someone used to making difficult decisions. "Dr. Kim, your transport leaves in 6 hours. It's the last medical evacuation ship." "I'm not going. This isn't a request. As colonial administrator, I'm ordering you to evacuate." Hannah saved her work and turned to face him. "And I'm refusing. You can't force me to leave." "Yes, I can. You're not thinking clearly because of your injury and trauma. My thinking is perfectly clear. The Vorthak are going to use this planet as a base to attack other human colonies. If we run now, more people will die. What can one injured engineer do against an alien invasion force? Hannah gestured to her workshop. I can become something they don't expect. Kyung-nam looked around at her equipment and design plans. This is madness. You're talking about experimental surgery with alien technology. Even if it works, you'd be one person against an entire alien military. One person is how every revolution starts, Kyung-nam sighed. I can't authorize this. Earth. Command would have my head if I let a colonist attempt something so dangerous. Then don't authorize it. Just look the other way. They stared at each other for several moments. Finally, Kyung-nam shook his head. I have 37 other people who refuse to leave, he said. Engineers, security personnel, miners who consider this planet their home. They're all staying to help you with whatever insane plan you're developing. Hannah felt a surge of gratitude. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We're probably all going to die. Kyung-nam paused at the door. But if we're going to die, we might as well die fighting. After he left, Hannah returned to her work. She had a cybernetic arm to build and an alien invasion to stop. The Vorthak thought they had broken her by taking her arm. Instead, they had given her exactly the motivation she needed to become something greater than human. Teho arrived later that night. He was a former military engineer who had come to New Bizan to retire. Instead of retirement, he was about to help build the future of human warfare. Kyung-nam told me what you're planning, he said. I've brought some additional equipment from the military depot. Together, they began the real work. Building not just a prosthetic arm, but the first step toward a new kind of human. One that could stand against any alien threat and win. The Vorthak had started a war they didn't understand. Humans didn't just adapt to survive. They adapted to overcome. 3 months had passed since the evacuation deadline. The Vorthak had kept their word about not immediately killing the remaining humans. Probably because 37 people seemed too few to matter. They were wrong. Hannah stood in her expanded workshop, flexing the fingers of her new left arm. It looked almost human from a distance, covered in synthetic skin that matched her natural color. But underneath the skin was something far beyond human engineering. The arm was stronger than any human limb had ever been. The bones were made from Vorthak hull material, nearly indestructible. The muscles were synthetic fibers that could contract with 10 times normal human force. Most importantly, neural interfaces ran throughout the arm, allowing her to connect directly with electronic systems. How does it feel? Asked Taeho. The old military engineer had become her closest partner in the project. His knowledge of weapon systems had been crucial in the arm's design. Like it was always part of me, Hannah said, which was true. The neural integration had worked better than her wildest hopes. She could control every joint and sensor with the same ease as her natural arm. Better, actually, the cybernetic arm? Never got tired or shook from nerves. She walked to a testing station where a piece of Vorthak armor plating sat on a metal table. It was the same type of armor worn by the aliens who had attacked her team. During the past 3 months, she had studied every piece of alien technology she could find. Hannah placed her cybernetic hand on the armor and began to squeeze the synthetic muscles in her arm contracted with tremendous force. The armor, which could resist plasma rifle fire, began to crack under the pressure. With a sound like breaking stone, it crumpled completely. Impressive, said a voice from the workshop entrance. It was Bio Ra, the colony's communications specialist. She was one of the 37 who had stayed behind. But can it do more than crush things? Hannah smiled and walked to her main computer terminal. Instead of using the keyboard, she placed her cybernetic palm on the interface panel. Neural connections in her hand linked directly with the computer system. Data flowed through her consciousness like water. In seconds, she had accessed files that would normally take minutes to find through traditional interfaces. She could process information at computer speeds while maintaining human intuition and creativity. It was like becoming part of the machine itself. The Vorthek have established 3 main bases on the planet, she said, pulling up tactical displays. Their primary command center is built on the site where they first landed. They have approximately 200 soldiers and at least 50 vehicles. 200, Tejo said grimly. Even with your new capabilities, those are difficult odds. Not. If we're smarter than they are? Hannah highlighted points on the tactical map. I've been monitoring their communications through captured equipment. The Vorthak have one critical weakness. Which is? They never change. Their tactics, their technology, their thinking, it's all exactly the same as it was 1,000 years ago. They conquered most of their empire using the same methods over and over again. Bo Ra leaned forward, interested. So they're predictable? More than that? They're incapable of adaptation. Their biology doesn't allow for rapid change the way human biology does. What we see as our greatest strength, the ability to adapt and improve, they see as primitive. Chaos. Hannah brought up detailed scans of Vorthek equipment and physiology. Their brains are larger than ours, but they're structured for stability, not flexibility. They can store vast amounts of information and perform complex calculations, but they can't think in new ways. That's useful intelligence, Tejo said. But we still need weapons and tactics that can overcome their superior technology. I've been working on that too. Hannah led them to another section of the workshop where several other cybernetic devices were under construction. We can't match their technology directly, but we can do something they can't imagine. She picked up a neural interface headset, much smaller and more sophisticated than anything that had existed before her work with Vorthek technology. We can network ourselves. Network? Bo Ra asked. Share information and capabilities in real time. If I can see something, you can see it instantly. If you discover a weakness in their defenses, everyone on our team knows immediately. We become a single coordinated organism instead of separate individuals. The implications were staggering. Humans working with perfect coordination, sharing knowledge and reactions at the speed of thought. It would be like fighting against a single enemy with 37 perfectly synchronized minds. The medical risks ... double quote again. Are significant, Hannah admitted. The neural modifications required are experimental and potentially dangerous. I won't ask anyone to undergo them unless they fully understand the consequences. What about you? Tejo asked. You've already modified yourself extensively. Hannah flexed her cybernetic arm again. The integration is complete and stable. My brain has adapted to the neural interfaces better than I hoped. One can take more modifications without significant risk. Over the following weeks, volunteers from the remaining colonists came forward for enhancement procedures. Not all of them could safely undergo the full neural networking, but each received modifications suited to their role and physiology. Min Ho, their best pilot, received enhanced reflexes and spatial processing capabilities. Young Suk, who had become their primary scout, got sensory augmentation that allowed her to see and hear across broader spectrums. Chang Min, their system specialist, received interface implants that let him hack into electronic systems almost as easily as Hannah. Each enhancement was an experiment, a step into unknown territory. But the volunteers understood what was at stake. The Vorthak weren't just invading New Bizan, they were the advance force for a massive expansion into human space. Stopping them here would save countless lives. Hannah's own modifications continued. To evolve, her cybernetic arm developed new capabilities as she learned to integrate it more fully with her nervous system. She could interface with multiple computer systems simultaneously, process tactical data in real time, and coordinate complex operations with thought alone. The first field test came when a Vorthek patrol ventured too close to the hidden human base. Hannah led a team of 5 enhanced colonists in an ambush that lasted less than 3 minutes. The Vorthak never understood what hit them. Human fighters appeared from impossible angles, moved with inhuman speed and coordination, and vanished before the aliens could react. When it was over, 12 Vorthok soldiers were dead and their equipment was captured for study. They're starting to take us seriously, Tejo reported after monitoring alien communications. The patrol commander described us as an unknown species with chaotic fighting capabilities. Hannah laughed. Chaotic? That's what they think when they see adaptability. But the real breakthrough came when she successfully integrated a captured Vorthak communication system with her neural interfaces. Suddenly, she could listen to alien military channels directly through her consciousness. What she heard changed everything. The Vorthak weren't just planning to hold New Beeson, they were using it as a staging ground for attacks on 3 other human colonies. Hundreds of thousands of people would die if their invasion fleet launched on schedule. We have 2 weeks, she told the assembled colonists that night. 2 weeks to stop them or watch them destroy everything we care about. The room was quiet as everyone absorbed this information. They had known the stakes were high, but the reality of pending genocide was sobering. What do you need from us? Asking Hannah looked around at her people, no longer just colonists, but something new. Enhanced humans capable of fighting on equal terms with an alien military force. I need you to trust me one more time, she said. Because what I'm planning is going to seem impossible. We've already done the impossible, young Suk said. We've survived this long. Surviving was just the beginning, Hannah replied. Now we're going to win. She activated the main tactical display and showed them detailed plans of every Vorthak installation on the planet. We're not going to fight them one patrol at a time. We're going to take everything they have in a single coordinated strike. All of it. Minho asked, at once? All of it. Their command center, their weapons depots, their communication arrays, their ships, everything. The plan was audacious beyond belief. But as Hannah explained the details, it began to seem possible. The enhanced humans could move and coordinate in ways the Vorthak couldn't predict or counter. They understood alien technology better than the aliens understood human adaptability. Most importantly, they had something the Vorthak could never have, the ability to become something greater than what they were. The battle for New Beeson was about to begin. The attack began at dawn. Hannah crouched behind a rocky outcrop 2 kilometers from the main Vorthak base, her cybernetic arm interfaced with a portable command unit. Through her neural link, she could sense the positions of all 36 team members scattered across the planet. Young Suk was in position near the communications array, her enhanced senses tracking guard patrols. Minho waited in their captured Vorthak fighter, ready to disable the orbital defense platforms. Chang Min had infiltrated the power distribution center, his interface implants already probing alien systems. All teams report ready, Hannah whispered. Into her communicator, though the words were unnecessary. Through their neural network, everyone already knew the status of the operation. She stood and began walking toward the Vorthak base. No stealth, no hiding. She wanted them to see her coming. The base was a cluster of black buildings surrounded by energy barriers and automated defenses. Vorthak soldiers patrolled in groups of 4, their weapons always ready. They had learned caution since the human attacks began, but they still didn't understand what they were facing. A patrol spotted Hannah when she was 500 meters from the perimeter. The aliens raised their weapons and began advancing, probably thinking she was just another desperate human colonist. Through her cybernetic arm, Hannah reached out to the base's defensive systems. The Vorthak had built their network using the same technology she had studied for months. Her neural interfaces slipped into their computers like water flowing downhill. The automated gun turrets turned and fired on the approaching patrol. Energy barriers flickered and died. Security cameras began showing false images of empty corridors. In seconds, Hannah had turned the entire base defense system against its creators. The surviving patrol members tried to radio for help, but their communications were already being jammed by Chang Min's infiltration of the power center. Across the planet, similar scenes were playing out as enhanced humans struck Vorthak positions with perfect coordination. Hannah walked through the now defenseless perimeter and into the base itself. Vorthak soldiers rushed to meet her, but they were confused and disorganized without their communication network. She moved through them like a force of nature, Her cybernetic arm caught a Vorthek energy sword in mid-swing. The weapon that had cut through her original arm like paper couldn't even scratch the alien hull material in her prosthetic. She crushed the sword's power core in the blade. Disappeared. The alien warrior stared at her in what might have been surprise. Hannah grabbed him by the throat and lifted him off the ground with one hand. Her arm's strength made the gesture effortless. "Where is your commander?" she asked in the Vorthek language. She had learned it by downloading their language databases. Directly into her enhanced brain, the soldier made clicking sounds that translated as refusal to cooperate. Hannah placed her other hand on his armor and activated her neural interfaces. The Vorthek's bioimplants weren't designed to resist human intrusion. No one had ever tried such a thing before. Information flowed from the alien's mind into hers. Battle plans, troop dispositions, the location of the command center. The soldiers. Consciousness recoiled in shock as foreign thoughts invaded his brain. "Thank you," Hannah said, and released him. The Vorthek collapsed, alive but traumatized by the experience of having his mind read by an alien intelligence. She walked deeper into the base, following the mental map she had extracted. Other team members were achieving similar successes at their targets. The neural network kept her constantly updated on their progress. Bo-Ra had captured the main weapons depot by convincing the Vorthek computer systems that she was an authorized user. Tejo was systematically dismantling their vehicle pool by introducing viruses into the control systems. The coordinated attack was proceeding perfectly. Hannah found the command center in the central building. It was a large room filled with holographic displays and alien officers studying tactical information. At the center stood War Commander Thexkar, the same Vorthek who had cut off her arm months ago. He turned when she entered, his black eyes focusing on her with what seemed like recognition. "The one-armed human," he said in his grinding voice. "You have returned to die properly this time." "Actually, I came to show you something," Hannah replied, raising her cybernetic arm. "You took this from me, so I made a better one." She reached out toward the command center's main computer. Neural connections flowed from her arm to the alien systems like invisible rivers. The holographic displays flickered and changed, now showing human tactical information instead of Vorthek data. "Impossible," Thexkar said. "Our systems are protected against intrusion." "Your systems were designed to resist Vorthek intrusion," Hannah corrected. "You never imagined someone like me." Through the computer network, she activated every piece of captured human equipment in the base. Mining lasers turned toward alien positions. Construction machinery began tearing down barriers. Even simple maintenance robots became weapons under her control. The Vorthek officers tried to regain control of their systems, but Hannah was faster and more adaptable than their rigid thinking patterns. Every countermeasure they attempted, she had already anticipated and prepared to defeat. "You're some new species," Thexkar observed. "Not the primitive humans we encountered before." "Same species," Hannah said. "We just got better." She began downloading information from the command center computers. Fleet positions, invasion plans, the locations of other Vorthek military bases. Everything the aliens knew about their own empire flowed into her consciousness. What she found was both terrible and encouraging. The Vorthek Empire was vast, spanning dozens of star systems and hundreds of worlds. But it was also brittle, maintained through fear and technological superiority rather than genuine strength. More importantly, she discovered that the new Bizan invasion was a test. The Vorthek High Command wanted to see how effectively humans could be conquered before launching their main expansion into human space. If they succeeded here, 1,000-ship armada would follow. "Your empire is about to learn something new," Hannah told Thexkar as she finished her data download. "Humans don't stay conquered." The war commander drew his energy sword and advanced. On her, he was larger and stronger than any baseline human, with reflexes honed by centuries of warfare. Against a normal person, he would have been unstoppable, but Hannah was no longer normal. Her cybernetic arm moved with inhuman speed, catching the sword blade in her artificial palm. The energy weapon that had once severed her limb now struggled uselessly against her synthetic grip, She twisted her wrist and the sword's hilt cracked. Under the pressure, Vexcar tried to pull away, but her enhanced strength held him in place. With her other hand, she grabbed his armor and lifted him off the ground. "This is for June," she said, and threw the war commander across the room. He hit the wall hard enough to crack the alien metal and slumped to the floor. Unconscious but alive, through her neural network, Hannah felt the other teams completing their missions. Every major Vorthak installation on New Bizan was now under human control. The alien invasion force had been defeated by 37 enhanced colonists in less than 2 hours, but the victory was just the beginning. Hannah activated the base's communication systems and sent a message across Vorthak military channels. "This is Dr. Hannah Kim of New Bizan Colony," she said. "Your invasion force has been defeated, your bases have been captured. Your commander is my prisoner." She paused, looking around at the conquered command center. "You came to our world thinking we were weak. You thought taking my arm would break me? Instead, you taught me how to become something stronger." The message continued broadcasting across Vorthak space, reaching every military unit and command post in their empire. "We are humans. We adapt, we improve, we overcome. Remember that when you think about invading our space again?" Hannah severed the connection and turned her attention to more immediate concerns. The captured Vorthak equipment would need to be studied and integrated into human defenses. The alien prisoners would need to be secured and questioned. Most importantly, other human colonies needed to be warned and prepared. The enhanced technology she had developed on New Bizan could be replicated elsewhere, turning ordinary humans into something capable of standing against any alien threat. Through her cybernetic interfaces, she began coordinating with the other team members. They had work to do and not much time to do it. The Vorthak Empire would eventually respond to their defeat, probably with overwhelming force, but when they came, they would find humans ready for them. Not the primitive species they had expected to conquer, but something new and dangerous. Something that had learned to become stronger through adversity. The age of human enhancement had begun, and it had started with a woman who refused to accept that losing an arm made her weaker. The Vorthak would learn, as Hannah had learned, that sometimes losing something just teaches you how to build something better. 2 weeks after the Vorthak defeat, New Bizan had transformed into something unrecognizable. The captured alien bases now served as research facilities where humans and cooperative Vorthak prisoners worked together to advance. Cybernetic technology. Hannah stood in what had been the main Vorthak command center, now converted into a human enhancement laboratory. Her cybernetic arm had evolved again, incorporating new Vorthak neural interfaces that allowed her to control multiple computer systems simultaneously. "The production line is ready," reported Chang Min, whose own enhancements now included direct brain-to-computer interfaces that let him manage complex manufacturing processes with thought alone. "We can produce basic enhancement packages for 50 people per day." The basic packages weren't as sophisticated as Hannah's custom modifications, but they provided significant improvements over baseline human capabilities. Enhanced reflexes, improved strength, basic neural networking, and compatibility with Vorthak technology. Enough to turn ordinary colonists into effective fighters. "What about the volunteers from other colonies?" Hannah asked. 12 ships arrived yesterday, said Bio Ra, consulting data streams flowing directly into her enhanced consciousness. Engineers, soldiers, and medical personnel from 6 different worlds. They all want the enhancements. Word of New Bizan's victory had spread quickly through human space. Colonial governments initially tried to suppress the information, but enhanced humans were remarkably difficult to silence. They could communicate through quantum-encrypted channels that no conventional authority could monitor or block. Young Suk entered the lab, moving with the fluid grace that her enhanced nervous system provided. "We have a problem," she announced. "Long-range sensors are detecting a Vorthak fleet approaching the system. 50 ships, including several that match dreadnought classifications." Hannah had been expecting this. The Vorthak Empire couldn't allow their defeat on New Bizan to go unanswered. Their rigid military doctrine demanded overwhelming retaliation against any resistance. "How long until they arrive?" she asked. 6 days at current velocity." Through her neural interfaces, Hana reached out to the planetary defense network they had built using captured Vorthek technology. Orbital platforms, energy barriers, and automated weapon systems all came online under her direct control. It wouldn't be enough. 50 ships carried thousands of Vorthek warriors, enough to overwhelm even enhanced human defenders through sheer numbers. But Hana had been preparing for this scenario. "Activate the recruitment protocol," she ordered. "Send out the call to every enhanced human in the system." Over the past 2 weeks, nearly 300 people had received basic enhancement packages. Most were colonists from New Bazan, but volunteers from other worlds had arrived seeking modifications. They formed the core of something new in human space. An enhanced military force. Teho coordinated the response from his position in the orbital command station. His enhancements focused on tactical processing and fleet coordination, allowing him to manage complex space battles with superhuman efficiency. "Enhanced teams are reporting ready from 17 installations across the planet," he announced. "We also have 43 enhanced pilots in captured Vorthak fighters and 12 teams manning the orbital defense platforms." But Hana's real innovation wasn't in weapons or defenses. It was in the neural network that connected all enhanced humans in the system. Through quantum entanglement interfaces built into their cybernetic implants, they could share information and coordinate actions across any distance instantly. "Network synchronization at 97%, reported Dr. Sujin, who had undergone enhancement procedures to better understand the medical implications of their modifications. "All enhanced personnel are connected and operational." The approaching Vorthak fleet had no idea what they were facing. To alien sensors, New Bazan appeared to be a lightly defended mining world with primitive human technology. They couldn't detect the neural network or understand how thoroughly their own equipment had been integrated into human defenses. "Minho, take your squadron and begin harassment operations," Hana ordered. "Don't engage directly. Just make them think they're facing conventional resistance." The enhanced pilot acknowledged and launched with 11 other fighters. To the Vorthik, it would look like a desperate attempt by outgunned humans to slow their advance. In reality, it was the opening move in a much more sophisticated strategy. Through the neural network, Hana monitored Minho's engagement with the alien fleet. His enhanced reflexes and the superior maneuverability of human-modified Vorthak fighters allowed him to strike and withdraw before the enemy could respond effectively, but the real purpose of the engagement was intelligence gathering. Every weapon fired, every tactical decision made by the Vorthik fleet was recorded and analyzed by the network. Within hours, they had a complete picture of alien capabilities and doctrine. "They're following standard Vorthik invasion protocols," analyzed Changmin. "Orbital bombardment followed by massive ground assault. They expect minimal resistance from primitive human technology." "Perfect," Hana said. "Let them keep thinking that." She began implementing the next phase of her plan. Using captured Vorthak communication systems, she sent false intelligence to the approaching fleet. Fake distress signals, fabricated surrender offers, staged evacuation attempts, all designed to reinforce alien assumptions about human weakness. Meanwhile, the real preparations continued. Enhanced humans took positions throughout the system, each one linked to the others through the neural network. They weren't just individual fighters anymore. They were components of a single, distributed intelligence capable of coordinating across interplanetary distances. "Rung has established contact with Vorthak resistance movements in 3 adjacent systems," Bo Ra reported. The former diplomat had used her enhanced capabilities to reach out to alien species oppressed by the Vorthak Empire. "They're willing to provide intelligence and support if we can prove humans are a viable threat to Imperial forces." This was exactly what Hana had hoped for. The Vorthak Empire maintained control through fear and technological superiority, but they had made enemies across hundreds of worlds. If humans could demonstrate the ability to defeat Vorthic forces, other species might join the resistance. Tell them they'll have their proof soon, Hannah said. The alien fleet arrived on schedule, taking positions around New Bizan in a standard siege formation. War Commander Vexler, commanding from the flagship, broadcast the expected surrender. Demands. The humans had 1 hour to yield or face complete destruction, Hannah responded personally, transmitting from the planetary surface. This is Dr. Hana Kim. We reject your demands. New Bizan is under human protection. Human protection? Vexler's grinding voice carried amusement. You are primitives with captured weapons. Your resistance ends now. The orbital bombardment began immediately. Plasma cannons fired from 50 ships, targeting what the Vorthak believed were critical human installations. The energy beams struck their targets perfectly, destroying buildings and equipment exactly as planned. Because all of it was fake. The real human installations were hidden underground or protected by energy barriers the aliens couldn't detect. What they were destroying were decoy structures filled with obsolete equipment. Phase 1 complete, Tejo reported through the neural network. Enemy fleet is committed to bombardment positions. Begin Phase 2, Hannah ordered across the system. NHANCED humans activated concealed weapon systems. Not the obvious defenses the Vorthak expected, but subtle infiltration tools that began penetrating alien computer networks. Chang Min's team had spent weeks designing viruses specifically tailored to Vorthak software architecture. The alien fleets. Computers began experiencing what appeared to be minor malfunctions. Navigation errors, communication delays, sensor glitches. Nothing dramatic enough to trigger alarm, but sufficient to degrade their operational efficiency. They're bringing down troop transports, young Suk observed from her concealed position. Standard ground assault formation. Thousands of Vorthic warriors descended toward the planet's surface, expecting to overwhelm scattered human resistance. They landed in perfect military formations, advanced according to proven tactical doctrine, and walked directly into the most sophisticated trap in military history. The enhanced humans weren't scattered defenders. They were components of a single, tactical intelligence that had spent weeks studying Vorthic ground combat doctrine. Every alien movement was predicted, every tactical decision anticipated. Network engagement protocol activated, Hannah announced. All units execute simultaneous strike. What happened next defied everything the Vorthic understood about warfare. Human fighters appeared from concealment at precisely the right moments, struck with perfect coordination and vanished before retaliation was possible. Their movements were synchronized across the entire planet, as if controlled by a single mind, because in many ways, they were. The neural network allowed enhanced humans to share sensory data, tactical insights, and combat reflexes in real time. When one fighter spotted an enemy weakness, every other fighter knew about it instantly. The Vorthic ground forces, trained for individual combat excellence, couldn't adapt to facing an opponent that shared consciousness across hundreds of batas. Their rigid tactical. The battle for New Bizan ended after 18 hours of fighting. Of the 50 Vorthak ships that had arrived to reclaim the planet, only 12 escaped. The rest were either destroyed or captured by enhanced human forces. Hannah stood on the bridge of the former Vorthak flagship, now under human control. Her cybernetic arm interfaced directly with the ship's command systems, giving her complete access to its weapons, engines, and communication arrays. The vessel that had come to destroy. Her colony was now part of humanity's growing fleet. Casualty reports, she requested through the neural network. 17 enhanced personnel killed in action, Tejo responded from the tactical station. 43 wounded, mostly minor injuries. Enemy losses are approximately 8,000. The numbers were staggering. Enhanced humans had achieved a kill ratio of nearly 500 to 1 against supposedly superior alien forces. It wasn't just victory, it was a demonstration that everything the galaxy believed about human capabilities was wrong. War Commander Vexler sat in the detention area, his armor removed and his bio-implants disconnected. Unlike Vexcar, who had been belligerent in defeat, Vexler seemed genuinely curious about his captors. "You are not the same species we encountered before," he said when Hannah came to interrogate him. "Your neural patterns are fundamentally different." "Same species," Hannah replied, settling into a chair across from him. "We just evolved." "Impossible. Evolution requires thousands of generations." "Biological evolution, yes. But we developed something better, technological evolution. We can improve ourselves in years instead of millennia." She demonstrated by interfacing her cybernetic arm with the cell's control panel. The energy barrier flickered as she accessed the ship's security systems. "Your people think technology is separate from biology. For enhanced humans, there is no separation." Vexler studied her with his large black eyes. "The Empire will not tolerate this threat. They will send fleets from across the galaxy to destroy. You, let them come. Each attack will only make us stronger." This wasn't bravado. The captured Vorthak ships contained advanced manufacturing equipment that the enhanced humans could use to produce more cybernetic implants. Each victory provided resources for creating more enhanced personnel. "Dr. Kim," Bo-Ra's voice came through the neural network. "We're receiving communications from 17 different alien species. They all want to establish contact with the humans who defeated the Vorthak." The news was better than Hannah had hoped. The Vorthak Empire had suppressed dozens of species across hundreds of worlds. Now those oppressed civilizations saw an opportunity for liberation. "Priority message from the Kaleri Coalition," Bo-Ra continued. "They're offering to share intelligence about Vorthak military installations in exchange for enhancement technology." Hannah smiled. The Kaleri were known as master engineers, their technology almost equal to the Vorthak in some areas. An alliance with them could accelerate human enhancement development by decades. "Set up the meeting," she ordered, "and prepare enhancement demonstration packages for our new allies." Over the following days, New Bizan became the center of a growing anti-Vorthak alliance. Species that had never cooperated before were united by their desire to see the Empire fall. The enhanced humans provided the military capability to make resistance viable. But Hannah's greatest achievement wasn't military, it was educational. She had established the Institute for Human Enhancement in the former Vorthak Command Center. Scientists and engineers from across human space came to study cybernetic integration techniques. "The quantum neural interfaces are the breakthrough," explained Wu Jin, one of the Institute's lead researchers. He had undergone extensive enhancement procedures that allowed him to process complex theoretical models in real time. They allow consciousness to operate at machine speeds while maintaining human creativity. The implications were revolutionary. Enhanced humans could solve engineering problems in minutes that would take conventional researchers months. They could process vast amounts of data while maintaining intuitive understanding of complex systems. "We're not just creating better soldiers," Hannah told a gathering of colonial administrators who had come to observe the enhancement process. "We're creating a new form of human intelligence capable of solving problems that have plagued our species for centuries. Energy production, faster-than-light travel, ecological restoration, all of these challenges became manageable when approached by minds that combined human intuition with computer processing power. But the most important development was happening in deep space. Min Ho led a squadron of enhanced pilots in captured Vorthak ships, conducting reconnaissance missions throughout the sector. What they discovered changed everything. "The Empire is mobilizing," he reported during a neural network briefing. "They're pulling fleets from across their territory and concentrating them for a massive assault on human space." The force being assembled was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. Thousands of ships, millions of soldiers, weapons capable of destroying entire star systems. The Vorthak High Command had decided that humans represented an existential threat requiring total elimination. "How long until they're ready to attack?" Hannah asked. "Intelligence suggests 6 months for full mobilization. The first waves could arrive in 3 months. Hannah processed this information through her enhanced consciousness, running tactical simulations at computer speeds. The numbers were sobering. Even enhanced humans couldn't defeat a force that sized through conventional means. "We need to change the nature of the conflict," she announced. "Instead of waiting for them to attack us, we need to attack the foundation of their empire." She activated the tactical display showing a three-dimensional map of Vorthak space. Hundreds of worlds, connected by trade routes and communication networks, all feeding resources to the military machine. "The Empire controls through fear and technological superiority," she explained. "But their control systems are centralized and rigid. If we can disrupt their command structure, their entire empire will begin to fragment." Chang Min studied the display with his enhanced analytical capabilities. "You're talking about deep strike missions into the heart of Vorthak space. The logistics alone would be staggering." "Not if we don't fight conventionally." Hannah highlighted key targets on the map. Small teams of enhanced humans infiltrating critical installations. "We don't need to conquer territory. We just need to prove that the Vorthak aren't invincible." It was the same strategy that had worked on New Bison, scaled up to galactic proportions. Enhanced humans working in perfect coordination, using superior adaptability to overcome rigid alien doctrine. "The Kaleri have provided detailed intelligence on Vorthak internal security," Biora reported. "They also have ships capable of reaching the core worlds undetected." Young Suk raised concerns about the mission parameters. "We're talking about small teams operating thousands of light years from support. If something goes wrong, there's no backup." "There's always risk," Hannah acknowledged. "But the alternative is waiting for them to bring overwhelming force against us. Better to fight on our terms than theirs?" The debate continued for hours, but the conclusion was inevitable. Enhanced humans had advantages that made deep strike missions feasible: quantum communication networks for coordination, advanced infiltration capabilities, and the ability to adapt to unexpected circumstances faster than any alien intelligence. "We'll need volunteers," Tejo pointed out. "This kind of mission requires people willing to risk everything." "We'll have volunteers," Hannah said confidently. "Enhanced humans understand what's at stake better than anyone." She was right. Within days, hundreds of enhanced personnel volunteered for the deep strike missions. They understood that humanity's survival depended on proving that even the heart of the Vorthak Empire was vulnerable to human ingenuity. The planning began immediately. Small teams would infiltrate key Vorthak worlds, targeting command centers, communication hubs, and manufacturing facilities. Each mission would be precisely coordinated through the quantum neural network, allowing teams to support each other across vast distances. But Hannah had one additional objective in mind, one she shared only with her closest allies. At the center of Vorthak space lay their homeworld, seat of the high command and symbol of imperial power. If enhanced humans could reach the Vorthak homeworld and demonstrate their capabilities there, it would shatter the foundation of imperial authority. Every oppressed species in the galaxy would know that the supposedly invincible empire could be challenged. The war was about to enter a new phase. Instead of defending human space against alien invasion, enhanced humans would take the fight to the heart of enemy territory. The Vorthak had started this conflict by taking Hannah's arm. Now she was going to take their entire empire. 6 months after the Battle of New Bison, the galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. Reports flooded in from across Vorthak space describing impossible events: military installations destroyed by small groups of infiltrators, communication networks hijacked by unknown forces, and entire fleets vanishing without explanation. Hannah stood in the command center of the liberated Vorthak heavy cruiser that now served as her mobile headquarters. Through her enhanced neural interfaces, she monitored simultaneous operations on 47 different worlds. The quantum communication network allowed her to coordinate activities across thousands of light years in real time. "Strike Team 7 has successfully infiltrated the Korvac shipyards," reported Minho through the network. His team had spent 3 weeks working their way through Vorthak security to reach the massive military construction facility. "Beginning demolition sequence now," On the tactical display, Hannah watched as the shipyards, capable of producing 12 dreadnought-class vessels per year, erupted in carefully placed explosions. Months of Vorthak military production were destroyed in minutes by a team of 8. In A and CED humans. Team 12 reports success at the Nexus Prime Communication Hub, added young Suk from another distant world. We've uploaded the Liberation virus into their main networks. Every oppressed species in this sector will receive our enhancement data within the hour. This was the true genius of their strategy. Enhanced humans weren't just destroying Vorthak installations. They were spreading the technology that had made their success possible. Each captured communication network became a conduit for sharing cybernetic enhancement techniques with alien resistance movements. Status report from all teams. Hannah requested. The responses came back through the quantum neural network at light speed. 47 simultaneous missions, each one precisely coordinated with the others. Supply depots destroyed, command centers infiltrated, communication arrays hijacked. The rigid Vorthak Empire was being systematically dismantled by enemies. It couldn't predict or counter, but the most important mission was just beginning. Hannah's own team had reached the edge of the Vorthak core systems, the heavily defended region of space surrounding their homeworld. No enemy force had penetrated this area in over 1,000 years. Long-range sensors are detecting massive fleet concentrations, observed Chang Min from his position at the sensor station. His enhanced consciousness could process the complex sensor data in real time, identifying individual ship types and weapon configurations. They have over 3,000 vessels defending the core worlds. Let them keep their ships, Hannah replied. We're not here to fight a conventional battle. Their infiltration vessel was a captured Vorthak scout ship, modified with human stealth, technology and quantum communication arrays. To alien sensors, it appeared to be just another military courier carrying routine messages between Imperial installations. The homeworld's orbital defenses are incredible, noted Teho, studying the tactical display. Energy barriers, automated weapon platforms, patrol fleets. It would take a full battle fleet just to reach the planet's surface. Good thing we're not planning a frontal assault, Hannah said with a smile. The Vorthak homeworld, called Vorthak, Prime in their language, was the symbolic and practical center of their empire. The High Command ruled from massive stone pyramids that had stood for millennia. Every major decision affecting billions of beings across hundreds of worlds originated from this single planet. It was also, according to Kalari intelligence, the location of the Central Archive, a massive computer system that contained every piece of information the Empire had gathered over its 1,000-year expansion. Military secrets, technological specifications, detailed records of every oppressed species and conquered world. If we can access the Central Archive, Hannah explained to her team, we can download the complete structure of their empire and share it with every resistance movement in the galaxy. The plan was audacious even by enhanced human standards. Infiltrate the most heavily defended world in known space, penetrate the High Command's personal fortress, and steal the most sensitive information in galactic history. All while avoiding detection by the most sophisticated security apparatus ever created. Landing coordinates confirmed, reported Bio Ra from the pilot station. Her enhanced reflexes and spatial processing capabilities made her one of the few beings in the galaxy capable of navigating the complex defense networks surrounding the homeworld. They descended through the planet's atmosphere in a trajectory that matched routine courier flights. The stolen security codes Chang Min had extracted from captured installations identified them as legitimate Imperial personnel. To the automated defense systems, they were invisible. Vorthak Prime was unlike any world Hannah had seen. Ancient cities built from black stone stretched across continents, connected by transportation networks that hummed with constant activity. Billions of Vorthak lived and worked here, the privileged core of an empire that spanned half the galaxy, but there were also other species, servants, laborers, and technical specialists from conquered worlds. Many showed signs of cybernetic implants, though nothing as sophisticated as human enhancement technology. The Empire used other beings as tools, but never allowed them to become truly powerful. The High Command Complex is 12 kilometers from our landing site, observed young Suk through her enhanced senses. She could detect security patterns and patrol schedules across vast distances. Heavy surveillance, but the patrols follow predictable routes. They move through the alien city with careful precision. Their captured Vorthic equipment made them nearly invisible to casual observation, while their enhanced capabilities allowed them to avoid more sophisticated detection methods. The High Command Complex was a masterpiece of intimidating architecture. Massive pyramids rose into the sky, their surfaces covered with symbols that hurt human eyes to look at directly. Energy barriers and weapon emplacements protected every entrance, while aerial patrols circled constantly overhead. The Central Archive is in the deepest pyramid, Chang Min reported, consulting intelligence data flowing through his neural interfaces. Approximately 800 meters below ground level, protected by quantum encryption and biometric security. Fortunately, we brought our own quantum decryption system, Hana said, flexing her cybernetic arm. The latest upgrades included interfaces specifically designed to penetrate Vorthek, security networks. They entered through a maintenance access that young Suk had identified during reconnaissance. The tunnels beneath the complex were vast and complex, designed to allow service personnel to move without disturbing the High Command's activities, but as they descended deeper into the pyramid, they encountered something unexpected. Other infiltrators moving through the same tunnels with similar stealth technology. Unknown contacts, whispered Teho. Raising his weapon, the strangers emerged from concealment, revealing themselves to be members of 3 different alien species. All showed signs of recent cybernetic enhancement, crude compared to human technology, but clearly based on the same principles. You are the humans who created the enhancement protocols, said one of them, a reptilian being with golden scales. We are the Zephyrian Liberation Front. We received your transmissions and adapted the technology to our physiology. Similar groups had been forming across the galaxy as enhanced human technology spread through resistance networks. Species that had been oppressed for centuries were suddenly capable of fighting back against their Vorthek overlords. We seek the same objective, explained another infiltrator, a crystalline being whose body pulsed with internal light. The Central Archive contains information about our homeworld's defenses. If we can access it, we can liberate our people. Hannah realized that something unprecedented was happening. The enhancement technology she had developed wasn't just creating better human soldiers. It was inspiring a galaxy-wide revolution against Vorthak rule. We work together, she decided. Combined operation, shared intelligence. The alien resistance fighters agreed immediately. They had studied human tactics and understood the advantages of coordination and mutual support. Together, the mixed team penetrated deeper into the pyramid. Hannah's cybernetic arm allowed her to interface with Vorthak security systems, creating false signals that masked their movement. The alien fighters provided local knowledge and additional technical capabilities. When they reached the Central Archive chamber, they found it guarded by the most sophisticated defenses in the Empire. Quantum locks, biometric scanners, neural pattern analyzers, and automated weapon systems. Any conventional infiltration attempt would have failed within seconds, but Hana had advantages the Vorthak had never imagined. Her cybernetic interfaces could operate at quantum levels, interfacing directly with the Archive security protocols. Instead of trying to break the encryption, she convinced the system that she was an authorized user. Access granted, she announced as the massive vault doors opened. Welcome to the heart of the Vorthik Empire. The Central Archive was a cathedral of information storage. Crystalline matrices stretched from floor to ceiling, containing the accumulated knowledge of a 1,000-year empire. Everything the Vorthik knew about military strategy, conquered species, technological capability. 1 year after the infiltration of the Central Archive, the galaxy was unrecognizable. The 1,000-year Vorthik Empire had shattered into dozens of independent sectors, each one controlled by liberated species using enhanced technology. What had been an oppressive monolith was now a collection of free worlds working together by choice rather than force. Hannah stood on the observation deck of New Bisan Station, the massive space facility that had grown around her former mining colony. Through the transparent aluminum windows, she could see ships from 30 different species docked at the station's ports. The hub of galactic enhancement technology had become the unofficial capital of the new alliance. Her cybernetic arm had evolved far beyond its original design. The latest iteration incorporated technology from dozens of species, creating interfaces that could work with any electronic system in known space. She was no longer just enhanced, she had become a living bridge between biological consciousness and digital information. "The morning reports," said Wu Jin, approaching with data streams flowing directly into his enhanced consciousness. As director of the Institute for Human Enhancement, he coordinated research across hundreds of worlds. 73 new species have successfully adapted our enhancement protocols. The Kaleri have achieved breakthrough advances in quantum neural networking, and the former Vorthak homeworld has officially requested membership in the Alliance. That last piece of news was particularly satisfying. Vorthak Prime, once the seat of galactic oppression, was now home to a coalition government that included representatives from every species that had once been enslaved there. The massive pyramids that had housed the High Command now served as research centers for advancing enhancement technology. "What about the military situation?" Hannah asked. "The last Vorthak holdout fleet surrendered yesterday," Wu Jin reported. "Admiral Dexkar, yes, the same one who attacked you originally, has agreed to provide intelligence about remaining Imperial installations in exchange for safe passage to a neutral world." Hannah smiled at the irony. The Vorthak warrior who had cut off her arm was now a refugee seeking protection from the alliance she had built. The galaxy had come full circle in the most unexpected way. "Dr. Kim," Young Suk's voice came through the quantum communication network. She was leading a diplomatic mission to the Andromeda Galaxy, where rumors suggested other species were interested in enhancement technology. "We've made contact with the Andromedan Council. They want to establish formal relations with the Alliance." The implications were staggering. Enhanced human technology was spreading beyond their home galaxy, creating possibilities that no one had imagined just 2 years ago. The revolution that had started with one woman refusing to accept disability was now reshaping the entire universe. Ring, now serving as the Alliance's chief diplomat, joined Hannah on the observation deck. His enhancement package focused on communication and cultural analysis, allowing him to work effectively with dozens of different species. "The Council of Free Worlds has voted to establish the Galactic Enhancement Accords," he announced. "Uniform standards for cybernetic integration, shared research protocols, and mutual defense agreements. Every member species will have access to the best enhancement technology available." This was what Hannah had always envisioned, not just better weapons for fighting wars, but better tools for building peace. Enhanced beings could solve problems that had seemed impossible for baseline biological intelligence. Ecological restoration, faster-than-light communication, even the beginnings of technological approaches to extending consciousness beyond biological death. "There's something else," Rung continued. "The Earth government has formally apologized for their initial rejection of enhancement technology. They're requesting full Alliance membership and offering to share all human scientific research." Hannah nodded thoughtfully. Earth's change of heart was understandable. While their distant colony had been revolutionizing galactic civilization, the homeworld had remained largely unchanged. Now they wanted to be part of the transformation they had initially opposed. "What about the Vorthak survivors?" she asked. "Approximately 60 million chose to undergo enhancement procedures," Changmin reported through the network. He was managing the complex logistics of integrating former enemies into Alliance society. They're adapting well to cooperative thinking patterns. Some are even showing remarkable innovation in enhancement design. This was perhaps the most important development. The Vorthak hadn't been evil by nature. They had simply been trapped in rigid thinking patterns that prevented adaptation and growth. Enhancement technology freed them from those limitations, allowing them to become something better than what they had been. Soft chime indicated an incoming priority message. Bio-Ra's image appeared on the communication screen, transmitting from deep space near the galactic core. "Hannah, you need to see this," she said, her enhanced senses clearly detecting something extraordinary. "We found something at the center of the galaxy. It's artificial, massive, and definitely